What's up, guys? Beer here back in the Fantasy Bar. 6 of my favorite plays for a big Tuesday night, including my favorite value play, mid-range play. I found my favorite buy low on tonight's slate, my favorite matchup we want to exploit, and what stud do we want to pay up for here tonight? Belly up to the Fantasy Bar and find out. Welcome in, guys. Tuesday edition Beers Daily Fantasy 6-pack. Good to be back here in the Fantasy Bar once again, and I'm here with 6 of my favorite plays, as always, covering Draftkings, FanDuel, and Yahoo. Thank you for tuning in. Before we get into tonight's plays, as always, guys, couple things. Need you to subscribe to the channel there over on YouTube. Also, hit that thumbs up button. That's the tip jar here in the Fantasy Bar. Doesn't cost you a thing here to hang out in the Fantasy Bar. Check out the video. That thumbs up really helps us out over there on YouTube. Also, make sure you get over to FanDuel. The single entry series rolls on as it states. Everybody gets one lineup. I will be playing in that contest as well. So, you want a piece of me, think you do better than me, get in that contest. But very, very fun contest. 6 weeks of contests. Your top 4 scores count for the week. Everything is tracked with a chance to win $10,000 at the end of that 6 weeks. So, we'll see you over there in the single entry series presented by Rotogrinders over there on FanDuel. All right, let's get into plays for tonight. Love this slate. Let's start at the point guard position. Let's spend some money with Kyle Lowry of the Raptors. So this one, definitely one of the marquee games we have for tonight. Can't wait to watch this game, and I think we want to have some exposure to this game here as well, and I'm going to do it with Kyle Lowry here. Comes in great form, 6 double-doubles over the last 7 games. A pace-up spot. We know the Bucks love to get up and down the floor. The Raptors will be happy to oblige here. And that's going to mean more usage, more opportunities, more shots here for Kyle Lowry. A close spread in this game, very high total. And Lowry played very well in the first game against this team, went over 50 Draftkings points here with the recent form. The price is fair, the pace-up spot, and obviously a matchup he can succeed in. Going right back to the well here with Kyle Lowry against the Milwaukee Bucks. All right, let's go to the mid-range, get some value at shooting guard with Damian Lee of the Warriors. So the Warriors, one of those teams you're going to want to take shots with. No matter who it is, you may have your favorite Warrior tonight, minus Damian Lee. These guys are going to have to play minutes. We'll keep an eye on the Draymond Green situation. That may open up more opportunities for some of these guys. But Lee, the one I want. He's been the most consistent of all these fringe Warriors guys. 25 or more DraftKings points now in 5 of his last 7 games. He's shown us a very big ceiling when he's gotten these kind of minutes, and the Kings have struggled against guys like Damian Lee. Defense versus archetype, something you can find right here on Rotogrinders, 24th in that department. So this is one of those sneaky games, a lot of great mid-range and value plays, a very easy game to stack with Damian Lee, whether it's in that stack or not, cash game playable. But I think there's a lot of upside here in tournaments as well, and in mid-5s prices on both FanDuel and Draftkings, under $20 on Yahoo. Great value here with Damian Lee. All right, let's go to a buy low. I think is in a great spot here. That's Will Barton of the Nuggets. So let's think back not too long ago. We were paying much more for Will Barton here. Now we're at $5,500 on DraftKings, $5,700 on FanDuel. Anytime this guy is under $6,000, it screams to me buy low. So let's do just that here. Detroit really struggles with small forwards, 28th in defensive efficiency against this position, gives up a ton of fantasy points here. And Barton, of course, played well against this Detroit team. I love looking back at previous matchups, went for 29 and 5 in that game. Do the math, that's a ton of fantasy points here for Will Barton. I think he does it here. Once again, these prices too good to ignore, and the matchup about as good as it gets with a hapless Detroit Pistons defense. All right, let's spend some money. One of our favorites lately at small forward, power forward, Jason Tatum of the Celtics. So Tatum been very good to us. We're going to reserve him a spot here at the bar once again. Prices are still fair, under $9K on both the big sites, just over $40 on Yahoo there. Worth every penny, in my opinion. No Kemba Walker once again tonight. So we run the numbers, and you can do this over at Rotogrinders utilizing our Court IQ tool. But the usage rate, again, sits at an elite 32.5% without Kemba Walker. Consistency has been there. We're looking for cash game floors. He's given us that. 40 or more in 9 straight games, 50 or more in 5 of the last 7 games. So we also get that ceiling we're looking for in tournaments. So playable in both formats there. Now let's look at the matchup, and this is the icing on top of this cake. Portland gives up more fantasy points than any team in the league to the power forward position. Jason Tatum, good form. Price is still not high enough. No Kemba Walker means a lot of usage, and the matchup couldn't be any better here than going against the Portland Trail Blazers. Jason Tatum in a smash spot here tonight on Tuesday night. All right, let's go down to the mid-range once again at center. Try to save you a little bit here with Miles Turner of the Pacers. Now, Turner, not a guy you're going to see in the six-pack a lot, not a guy that I play a lot, but when I see Charlotte on the schedule, I instantly look at the center, and I think, can this guy get up and down the floor? Is he athletic enough? Yes, he checks those boxes. Then I want to exploit this matchup. The Hornets, all season long, centers have dominated this team. So whatever metric we look at, defensive efficiency, bottom 3. Fantasy points allowed, bottom 3. So I'm going to plug in Miles Turner, normally not a guy that I use, but tonight I'm going to make an exception here. And he's played well in this matchup. We talked about looking back at previous matchups. This guy's averaging almost 40 DraftKings points a game in 2 games versus Charlotte this season. And if he does that, it's an easy 8x on DraftKings. We're talking about a 6 to 7x on FanDuel. Easy return in tournaments. Love this spot here for Miles Turner against this weak Charlotte interior. All right, it's time to take a look at my favorite play for Tuesday night. But before we do that, guys, as always, we're going to say thank you to you guys, the bar patrons, for watching the video. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button. And how are we going to do that? We're going to run it back with our Beast of the Night contest. All you got to do, absolutely free to play, get in the comment section below the video and guess fantasy points on FanDuel for my Beast of the Night. The closest guess is going to win themselves 3 free days of Rotogrinders Premium. Going to give you access to everything, all the sports, lineup HQ, all the videos, all the articles, 3 free days to check everything out. All you got to do, guess fantasy points on FanDuel for my Beast of the Night. All right, let's take a look at my favorite play for Tuesday night, known as Beast of the Night. All right, Beast time. We're going to spend some money here. There's a lot of studs on this slate, but one stands head and shoulders above the rest for me, and that's Anthony Davis against the Pelicans, tonight's Beast of the Night. So we have obviously LeBron, we have Jokic, we have a ton of different studs, Giannis on this slate that we could pay up for, but Anthony Davis, the one I want to go out of my way to spend up on. The Lakers projected for over 123 points in this game. That's almost 9.
What is up, everybody, and welcome to Grinderslive for, I guess this is Tuesday. Tuesday is the flagship show. Is it Tuesday? I think it's Tuesday, man. I think we're Tuesday. I think we're moving along here on the week, and I'm going to be breaking down some lineup builder for you, all kinds of stuff. I'm going to be joined by Kirk Deese in a minute, and we're going to do all kinds of fun stuff on today's show. So thank you for tuning in. If you're like me right about now, I'm going to go to my videos page, and I'm going to hit that refresh button so that we can get us some fresh chat in there. And that's what you got to do to get the YouTube chat pulled up after that show starts. Refresh it, and then bam. That's where you want to ask your questions at, guys. That's where we'll be tracking some questions. I'm also hanging out looking at the EA Discord channel. So if you want to hop in there, shoot the bull in there. Got you covered there too. But yeah, it's enough of all that. I gotta bring in my guy here. I always like doing shows with Kirk Deese because this guy, sharp as a tack, man. This guy knows his business here. So we're going to bring in Kirk Deese now. I'm going to ask him about all kinds of stuff. But first and foremost, I need to know how Phil's doing out there.
My dog Phil's doing great. It's beautiful weather the last couple of days in Boston. All of a sudden, instead of usual cold and wind. So he had some nice long walks. But I'll tell him you're thinking of him.
And how's the fiance doing?
She's good as always. Good as always.
No Shaq.
How's your wife doing?
Yeah, she's working. Poor lady, got to work in like one of the working class, unfortunately for them. But guys like us, we get to hang out at home right all day long and pretty much just look at a computer. So we're in good shape there. But we got a pretty nice slate tonight, man. We got a lot of things going on here, and I don't know, man. It's going to be how prepared are you for this slate?
I'm not super prepared as normal, but we're going to figure it out, on the fly. I got some ideas. It's kind of a tough slate, to be honest with you. It's like the value is really thin tonight.
Yeah, that's one thing we were going to talk. We're going to talk about that here in a minute. Definitely some thin value. So we have to get creative with it because there's also some studs out there, specifically one I'd really like to roster, but we'll get into that in a minute. I had a show here about a few days ago with Big T, and I was asking him because I'm this kind of guy, man. I dwell on things that get stuck in my mind, and I was asking him, does he still sit awake at night and think about that RG basketball game and the losses we suffered like I do, because sometimes it keeps me up at night. How are you? Are you recovered from that fully, or are you still like, man? We were the best team, and we just caught the bad end of some variance there.
I mean, I couldn't get up and down the court. I was just embarrassed. Except that, my I turned on some defense on the end when I needed to, and I have a lot of regrets. So what's happened now is that I've actually I've been going to the gym since I got back, so it was good motivation to get me back in the gym, start getting a little bit healthy. Still not eating well, but at least I'm balancing it out a little bit.
Yeah, I feel you on that one. I had to schedule me a doctor's appointment here for next week. I got, it's just things just ain't sitting right after that RG game. So we'll have to figure that out. But guys, if you're tuning in, the number one thing we need you to do on this show, hit that like and subscribe button. Today, there's no free promo, so we hope you just do it out of the kindness of your heart. The free promo is actually Lineup HQ. You don't have to hit a certain amount of likes. Just Lineup HQ today is free. So all you got to do is log into your RG account, which is free. You don't have to be signed up for anything. Just log into your RG account. And Lineup HQ is free today. Man, you almost couldn't get a better day to have Lineup HQ because there's a lot of games. There's a lot of stuff going on. I don't throw other organizations under the bus. So let's just say Lineup HQ would be very, very helpful today if, other things went down on you today. Lineup HQ would be very helpful tonight, but it's free. But just hit the like and subscribe. The like button is nice for us, man. It always pays off. And as always here, we're running since February the 3rd, we're running the FanDuel single entry series. I know you get into the FanDuel single entry series, don't you, Kirk?
I actually haven't. I haven't been playing on FanDuel, so I haven't jumped over there. But
you ain't playing on? Okay, that's the site we're going to cover today, then FanDuel, so that
I get two sites is just too much for me.
Yeah.
So if I added a third, I'd just be dead.
Yeah, they got their single entry series sponsored by RG is going on over there this week. $10 buy-in. So the best thing about this is not just the prize at the end of this thing and your weekly total. They tally it up, drop the lowest score so you can win weekly prizes, advance onto a final win a pretty good sum of money. The best thing about the tournament is it's sitting out there in lobby, and it's the best payout structure on FanDuel. It's just like automatically jumps into being the best payout structure. And it's hard to get good payouts on FanDuel that are nice and balanced and, all the way through with only a 10% up top to first place. It's tough to find those good ones over there. So this is it. $10 buy-in this week. Nice stuff right here. The RG badge promo. Got to cover the badge promo where you switch your badge over to, there you go, you rocking the shirt, man. Switch your badge over to an RG badge. You're eligible to win some stuff. These guys didn't win. What you got?
A new offer, a new special offer for the people.
Uh-oh, here we go.
Out of all the people who do the RG badge, the highest score and you pick a particular contest wins the Chop Man's chain, I think, or a replica.
No, I'll tell you what. I'll send them a picture of me wearing the chain. I'll autograph it. And send it to you. But this is a good luck charm. You can't get rid of the man's chain like that. But RG Basham, switch your badge over. You're eligible for some stuff. At the very least, you can get a shout out on air. That's what I'm going to do now. Got six names to read here. Read some names for you. These are guys get a shout out for switching their badge over. Bullhead Mosh. Appreciate you switching your badge over.
Appreciate you.
Russell D07. You get a little shout out here. Delta 68. He should be a little different because the average guy would have put 69 there, but he's Delta 68. So
wow.
Shout out to you. Dan K Kung Fu. Dan K, yeah, that's it. Dan K Kung Fu. Shout out to you. I like this one. Fizzle Z. That's a cool name. Fizzle Z. You get a shout out. Fizzle Z. And Mellow 610. Shout out to you, man. You switched your badge over, so you get recognized on air. So Mellow. All right, we got all those bases covered, and we got a lot of stuff to talk about here. So we'll kick it off. Where do you usually start off? Where do you usually start off your research at, Kurt? And it just, you wake up in the morning, you eat your breakfast, you take Phil for a walk, and you say, I better look at some basketball. What's the first thing you're going to on RG?
I look at Meansy's core plays first because he's got it done at by 7 a.m., so I know it's going to be there, because that dude gets up early. But so I start there because that gives me a good idea of what the chalkiest plays are going to be of the day. Then I will always go through Noto's grind down, and then I start just making builds and lineups and start looking up certain things. I just start going. My head starts going in different directions.
Fair enough. I'll tell you what I do when I first start to dig into basketball. Is it somebody talking back there, Kurt?
I got nothing.
Did I hit the Siri? Maybe that was Siri talking to me, man. Maybe that was my Amazon Echo talking to me. Got to watch out for those things. They're tracking.
Maybe it's the man's coming, channeling himself into.
It might be, man. But first thing I like to do, I like to pull up. Well, I do it in a different way, but basically the situation room. I like to see who's questionable and who's out for the night. Where can I get my value at? Things like that. I like to do it a little different. I like to download it on a spreadsheet so I can filter it the way I want and put things next to it. And I don't know, but the point being, I look for injuries. All right. So let's kick it off in the situation room because I'm going to throw some things out there today. Like you said earlier, we don't have a whole lot of value that's just crushing it right now. Maybe that changes. It's been known to change in the NBA in 10 minutes before lock. But as of right now, not a ton. So let's take a look at some situations. Right before we got on air, we got confirmation Oladipo is out. So that makes Jeremy Lamb and Victor Oladipo for Minnesota both out. They say Aaron Holiday is going to start. Lamb and Oladipo are your two main shooting guards on that team. They play their primary minutes at shooting guard. So we're going to have something opened up in the backcourt there. The guy I identified earlier, and maybe I'm wrong because now they say Aaron Holiday started, but the guy I was looking at was Justin Holiday. Is this a situation, Lamb and Oladipo, is this a situation we can take advantage of, those guys being out?
Yes, on particular sites for sure. I mean, it definitely makes Aaron Holiday in play, especially on Yahoo where he's min price. And so, it's been tough to find value today. So he's a nice piece over there. On DK, he's kind of he's a little bit price low, but he's like 4,600 or something, but it's not where, this is, he is a high usage player, but he's playing with a bunch of high usage players. So I don't expect him to be a high usage player in this lineup. So therefore, it gets a little bit tricky and you look at 4,600 or you could pay $5K for Miles Turner on DraftKings, right? What would you choose between those two?
Yeah. Well, give me my options again. I was looking at
Miles Turner is only 400 more on DraftKings as opposed to Holiday.
Oh, yeah.
Different position, obviously. I'm just saying in general, though.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure you want to go with the guy with some upside there, Turner.
But, it might give TJ McConnell a couple extra minutes. It might give the other Holiday, like you said, a couple extra minutes. So there's definitely ways to go. But I think Aaron Holiday is certainly playable, especially in this good matchup.
Yeah, like you said, we're looking for anything we can get from value. So you never know, man. We'll see how it plays out. But another situation to monitor, and these guys, we don't have definitive word yet. we can take guesses right now. Golden State, Draymond Green, questionable. Marquise Chris, questionable. And Willie Cauley-Stein ruled out. Those are your primary power forwards and centers for that team. I don't know about Draymond. I don't think he plays. Chris is probably a little bit more closer to playing than for me. But if they're all out and you're missing all that front court action, now there's a name the chat wanted me to ask you about here a little while ago, and I had to look it up. I thought they were trolling me. Toscano Anderson. You talk to me about the Golden State front court if these guys are out.
I mean, it's thin. It's incredibly thin. It does not feel – I mean, there's like plays that are going to pop and optimizers are going to be Dragan Bender. We know what he is, and Toscano Anderson. And Toscano Anderson has done well in the G League, put up some numbers there, but, I'm not ready to count on this guy. So, I mean, I'm all set. I'm not going to play him.
We're confirmed Draymond Green is out, and now Chris is probable. So what is that? Well, I tell you what, that probably swings some things to Marquise now, right?
Yeah, I would feel more comfortable with him. Although Looney is back now, cutting into some minutes. But I don't know. It's thin. So, I mean, I tell you, I don't want to play Dragan Bender. I do not want to play Toscano Anderson. Aaron Holiday fits the bill beautifully when we're talking about next to these guys.
Yes, Dragan Bender not particularly appealing for a fantasy standpoint. So, but getting that confirmation that Chris is probably in, that's pretty big because he's been crushing it, lately. So, yeah, you get a bunch of guys out, that could be a good one right there. Now, next one on the list here. Speaking of crushing it, CJ McCollum's been crushing because Lillard's still out. But we got FanDuel finally kind of woke up from the holidays, from Valentine's Day, and they priced him up finally. So what do you think about CJ McCollum here, just cruising along fantasy-wise, but now the price is up there on FanDuel? Can we play him?
Yeah, I mean, the usage is insane, right? His assist rate has gone up massively. Everything, he projects really well. The only negative here is the fact that it's the Celtics, and it's Marcus Smart probably going to be attached to his hip for a good chunk of the game. And I always tend to bet on usage in this situation. But it all depends on the price, on which site, like Yahoo, he's certainly reasonable. FanDuel, it gets a little tougher, right? As you were saying, I mean, he's 8,500. It's DK. What, he's up to 9K now.
I mean, can we fade him? I mean, he's been crushing it, man. But
I mean, you can fade him. He's a solid play. He's definitely in play for cash, but he could also bust tonight. There's a much higher probability when there's one key guy, and then you've got a team with such good defenders that are able to lock on. Like I said, I tend to bet on usage in this situation, but his price is up there to the point where now I think he's certainly very fadeable. And if he's going to be extremely chalky in GPPs, I think he's a great fade.
You just mentioned Marcus Smart and the Celtics, and we got Kemba's out again. With that absence, Tatum's been good this year, really good for most of the year. And Jalen, he's got upside. He disappoints me sometimes. But when you look at Kemba being out of the game, not just off the court, but when Kemba misses games, the biggest beneficiary is Marcus Smart on paper by the numbers. He takes the biggest jump up in fantasy points per minute. And he's obviously going to get some extra minutes now because he moves a lot more to point guard now with Kemba out. So Kemba's out. Who are your favorites? Is Marcus headlighting the list for you tonight as your favorite Celtics, or are you going to stick with one of the big dogs?
I love them all. It's also site dependent. So you're talking FanDuel's Marcus Smart is like insanely cheap. So I think he's like a lock there. I mean, he is the point guard of this offense. He will pick up assists. He will jack threes. He will get defensive stats. He'll probably be guarding McCollum, who's a high usage player with the ball in his hands. So that will be opportunity for steals and whatnot, there's a lot to like. Take advantage of Jaylen Brown's price being down. It's, his production tailed off for a while because he's been battling with injuries. That's supposed to be fine now. His So I think you're going to see some good games coming out of him. But, like, obviously, it's really just the main three for me. Tatum has completely come out and taken over this team. It was his, like, official coming out party against right before the All-Star break when he played better than Kawhi. And then followed that up with All-Star weekend. So he's feeling like the man. He is the man. He's taken over this team. And so I think he's a great, strong play everywhere. You can load all these guys for sure.
Yeah, I like them too. It's a good match. Should be a competitive matchup. We should get a good little deal there. Is there anybody else? So I'm looking around here. Brook Lopez looks like he's going to play tonight. He missed last night, which caused some of the other guys to boom a little bit. But he looks like he's going to be back tonight. If Dean was hosting the show, he'd give you like Marc Gasol as being out. But we've known that. He's been out for months now. We're not worried about that. So Gasol's out. We know that. But is there anybody else jumping out to you that's currently questionable or out that we can take advantage of, or is that the big ones?
Let's see. So the news that the big one was probably Oladipo, just because we're scraping for value. So we got that one. Yeah, we already got, I guess Bruce Brown. Is there anything on there?
Oh, yeah.
He would be he'd be the last piece, just because, they got to play somebody in Detroit. Tough matchup against Denver. But some of those guys like Svi are interesting for value. And then, like, I don't know. That game, they're going to get blown out for sure. But you want guys that will at least, be playing in the fourth quarter. So I think Derrick Rose is extremely risky, but could be an awesome GPP play tonight, because if they stay close for some reason, Denver has a letdown game, then Rose is going to be an awesome play because his usage is just insane. And then he'll see max minutes for what his range is. But, that's a big if.
Yeah, I forgot about Bruce Brown. I saw him questionable earlier. He's still questionable. And if he sits, that's about 30-plus minutes out of the lineup that somebody's got to fill in. So we definitely need to take advantage of that. All right, so with all that being said, let's talk about there's not much value, but studs. Let's talk about some studs here, man, that we can get into. We'll flip to the lineup HQ. Let me give it a quick refresh, get the updated projections going on here. At the top of the charts here, I'm on FanDuel right now, but we can pick whatever side. They're all basically the same. Sorting by salary, looking at some of the studs out there tonight. Do you have a lean on some of these guys? Giannis tops our projections, but not by much over Anthony Davis. You've got that a really good spot for the Lakers, LeBron and Davis. Jokic is out there against a team of scrubs in Detroit. What do you think about these studs here?
I love the top two studs. I love Giannis. He fouled out, played the 25 minutes last night. So minutes shouldn't be a concern. He's probably upset about his performance. It's a big game against, the two powerhouses pretty much in the East. So this one should be competitive. It should be playing like a playoff type atmosphere. Game in Toronto. So I think I totally expect them to lean on Giannis in this game. And I think we'll see a higher range of minutes for him, anywhere from 30 to 35, when he'll just become an awesome play if he starts getting, 35 plus minutes because the game's competitive. So I think that's completely reasonable. So I really like him. I like Anthony Davis. He's already crushed the Pelicans twice. He definitely has something to prove against this team. How everything went down, even though it was his causing, but he's still, I think there is a little bit of revenge, and I think that the Lakers do give him the rock in these games, and he just has massive upside. So both these guys have massive upsides. I love those. Jokic, I don't like at all, just because I expect this game to be a blowout, and I would play Anthony Davis 10 out of 10 times every day against Jokic. LeBron is interesting, right? But
for sure.
But then there's Tatum.
Well, now are we classifying Tatum in this category? Is this price high enough?
I'm calling him a complete top stud.
I'm not. Well, it wasn't about like, are you good? And I was thinking about price. I had him cut off. So I mean, geez, Hassan Whiteside is actually listed like right around LeBron James and those guys. That's crazy. So, but I'm with you on the Giannis love here. That's my favorite. If I want to squeeze that guy into my lineup so bad. I wish there was more value right now, but you nailed it. It's a 1-point spread. Speaking of that, 1-point spread. Sharp side has their streak going. That's the team I'm locking in right there is Milwaukee -1 tonight. I think, like you said, exact same things you said are what stood out to me earlier. The guy played 25 minutes last night, Giannis. He is a disappointed performance, so he's going to be well-rested tonight. I'm not saying it's a key game. It's the NBA regular season. It doesn't mean a whole lot for a lot of these guys, but it is a pretty big game here, the two top teams in the East. He should be well-rested. He should get a full run tonight. Milwaukee is they just blow people out so much that this shouldn't be one of those games. But I think they're good enough here. I think they're good enough at full strength to come in at -1 and beat this team. This is not I still don't think this is a Toronto team that's going to be a serious threat to Milwaukee in the playoffs without, Kawhi is going to be a huge loss in the playoffs. They haven't felt it yet in the regular season, but in the playoffs they will. So I'm on Giannis tonight big time, and I'm on Milwaukee -1 on sharp side. Do you have a lean in that particular? I know we're going to get to your sharp side pick in a minute, but do you have a lean on that game?
I'll stick with you. I mean, all the advanced stats that say that the Bucks should handle this one. I think they're going to be up for the game. I'm not worried about the back-to-back, so I'm on your side.
Yeah, the back-to-back is almost like not even a back-to-back. Giannis only played 25. Brook Lopez didn't even play last night, so a couple of guys, they're not even on a back-to-back. They're just chilling out there in Toronto, basically. But, yeah, I'm with you there. So let's go on to that next tier of players there that you started with Tatum. Is if we're talking about that range of price tags, is that your favorite play tonight in that range? Would you rank him above McCollum as just almost the same price point, depending on what site you're looking at? Would you prefer Tatum over McCollum tonight?
I would. That's close, really, but I think because of ownership reasons, I would take Tatum.
All right. I just got some news here. It looks like Devontae Graham is going to be active, but not going to play tonight, or however that shakes out. It doesn't look like Devontae Graham is playing tonight. That's a game we're going to get. It's a tough matchup. It's at Indiana. Of course, it's not as tough with Oladipo not playing. That's a good defender right there. But does that do anything for Malik Monk? Looks like he's going to draw the start ahead of Devontae Graham. Does that do anything for you? I actually like Monk typically, but I don't know about this matchup though.
Monk's been balling in general. He's a chucker, which is nice. He's close to a fantasy point per minute. He's going to get more minutes because he's entering the starting lineup. You assume that they're going to let him run extra. So there's a lot to like there. I also think it gives a boost to Terry Rozier though, who I liked anyway. Maybe he takes over a little bit more in this one. And he is cheap, really cheap on FanDuel.
All right, you just did it for me. You got me right there. I'll be locking in Terry Rozier. That just right when you said it, it hit me. This is the guy who's going to shoot now tonight. Terry Rozier is going to crush it tonight. Yeah,
the problem is like Malik Monk is a chucker too, though. So it's like you're replacing a chucker with another chucker. But I
think that Rozier is alpha enough to dominate Malik Monk as opposed to he'll probably take a back seat to Oladipo, but he won't do that to Malik Monk. So I'm with you. I like that call a lot. I'm marking that one down. But what about the matchup here without Oladipo? Like, what do your metrics say? Is this a pretty decent matchup now, or because usually it's a tough match? I don't want to mess around with Indiana at home.
So this game has major pace concerns, right? So like the Hornets are 30th, dead last in pace. The Pacers are 25th. I don't think Oladipo being out really affects anything from a pace standpoint at all. So the only thing that's nice, though, is that the Hornets are just so bad defensively, 26th in defensive rating. the Pacers do play good defense. It's a much tougher matchup for the Hornets, so we should be looking to like the Aaron Holiday side, just because of the matchup. But I think this game is, if this game stays competitive especially with Graham being out, I mean, the pricing was so cheap anyway on guys like Rozier and Monk. So I think they're solid plays and extremely playable.
All right.
I would look to the pay. I mean, I love Miles Turner tonight on pretty much every site.
Okay. Miles Turner's your guy. He's got a good price tag now because he just hasn't done much this year. But, okay, I like that. I don't mind that. So
trending up. His minutes are trending up.
Yeah.
Now you get Oladipo off the floor a little bit. And this is just as good of a matchup as it gets. It's the Hornets are just so bad at defending the center position. They give up a fair amount of blocks. They give up a bunch of steals. He's somebody that can rack up defensive stats. He's so cheap that he doesn't need to, he's probably not going to kill you anyway. But, if we can get that old Miles Turner which he's starting to flash a little bit, then there is some good upside there.
So, all right, back to the Tatum v. McCollum. Did you give me an answer on that one? I don't remember now.
I said take Tatum for ownership reasons.
Take Tatum for ownership. I like it. All right, in that same range though, any of these other the Drew Holiday, the Pascal Siakam, they're all in that range. Is anybody stand out to you on the optimizer? If you run the optimizer like over and over with a bunch of different projections, whoever you want to plug in there, that the Aaron Fox is just popping tonight, just popping off the optimal. So is that the guy you're going to turn to? He's chalky as heck.
I know he's chalky. That's the problem, but I don't see how he fails. So typically, if the games are close, that he's going to be out there and he's going to be crushing. He's running this offense. You'd hope he stays out of foul trouble. That's always a concern with him potentially. But the Warriors are just such a good matchup, and they're just such a bad team. Now, do you have I don't really have confidence that the Kings will blow them out. Do you?
Yeah.
I don't have confidence in the Kings blowing anybody out ever.
It's at Golden State, so yeah, I would probably lean towards no blowout. I mean, listen, you know how this is in the NBA. It doesn't just have to be a blowout; it has to be a really early blowout for your guys to lose minutes, substantial minutes, right? You have to be blowing a team out at halftime or early third quarter. Like if you could have a 10-point lead with 4 minutes left. There's the start. The big dogs are still running in that game. Like you know what I mean? So I'm a little salty from way too much Luka last night. Oh, what happened there? I don't even. We got to put.
You know what happens is against bad teams in late in the third quarter, Seth Curry turns into Steph Curry, and then it just kills Luka.
Well, it's also you throw in last night. And I don't even know how I recouped any money, but Brandon Clark, 0.2 fantasy points last night. That one really got me.
He didn't even do anything. He just his hip just started hurting.
Yeah, all I saw was the box score at 3 minutes, and it just stayed at 3 minutes. And I was like, yeah, that didn't work out. And I felt like he was a really good play going into that, but that didn't pan out. What about old Wiggins there coming back? He's been pretty good since the trade. Comes back against Sacramento at home. You love Wiggins?
Like him. You're going to want to correlate. There's going to be a lot of plays to correlate now that, Draymond out and whatnot. But, he would be number one. Marquise Chris would be up there. Then we can look to the other guys like Damian Lee, Poole, those types of guys. But, I'd be lying if I said I had a specific favorite of those guys. It's kind of like if they fit, sure, let's roll with them. But I love De'Aaron. You have to like Fox. So the Warriors play semi-fast. They're 12th in pace. These young guys, they're sloppy as heck. So there's definitely potential for steals. The Warriors are 27th in opponent steals per game. They also are 29th in opponent made threes. So that all of that just fits right into De'Aaron Fox's game. So he's so cheap across all the sites that he just seems like a lock.
Now sometimes I float around in the Discord NBA chat, and so some of the guys say that the opto is dead. They say the opto is dead. All right. So here's the question I got for you: is that the Opto is really, really high on Fred VanVleet tonight, and I don't know, man. I didn't see it, so I kind of disagreed with it. So talk to me about that. We're projecting him at 31% ownership, at least on FanDuel. Can't pull up Draftkings. I could in a minute, but projected at high ownership, getting a really high projection in general. Why is VanVleet popping tonight? And then do you agree with it?
Because he's so cheap. And, based on his rates, throughout the regular season, he should be performing much better than he has been in this recent little slump that he's been in. So, it's tricky because, the Raptors are pretty much, besides the Gasol, which may be a blessing in disguise, they're operating pretty much at full strength now with Siakam back in the mix, although they're still missing some guys, but their core is pretty much intact, their core starting five. So, his usage has been down, but it correlates completely with Kyle Lowry, who's been on a tear lately. So I think he'll snap out of it. I think he's a good play. It's a big game. I think we can bet on high upside for minutes for him tonight in this one. I think all these, the Nurse loves running a thin rotation, especially in competitive games, runs these guys out for massive amounts of minutes. So you just got to bet on the minutes. And his price is so cheap. So I do like him, but I would probably, make sure I don't play him and Lowry together and things like that.
Yeah, that just caught my eye. So let's go on to some another wave of players. I'm talking about the value plays. We've covered some guys, and like you said earlier, not a lot of value tonight. One guy who's jumping out projection wise because of the salary, like Harry Giles. Now, do you trust Harry Giles?
I don't trust Harry Giles, but
at this price, though, is he almost like on FanDuel $4,000? Is it like, damn?
We're looking for value. The guy to ask is going to be following our show. Is JSU is a big Harry Giles stan, so I'm sure he'll be on him. But I like his minutes. He's gotten big minutes in his last two games. They don't have a ton of options. Alex Len is now back in the mix, and he got 16 minutes in his return to playing, and maybe that eats into them. I don't know how comfortable they are rolling out, because he's working back from injury too. So, and he's never a really high minute player anyway, but he is there. But I do like him just because there's not many other options. It's like these are the gross plays we're working on. The thing is, it's the matchup though is so good.
Whew. Yeah, pulling up the RG lineup HQ and doing some filtering on some lower salary guys. Yeah, Marcus Smart is jumping out because of a $5,300 price tag on FanDuel. I'm going to talk about FanDuel more because we got the single entry series and we're going to probably put together a little lineup later. So talk about FanDuel. He's cheap. Terry Rozier is cheap. Terry Rozier will be in my one lineup on FanDuel. I'm running one lineup tonight. Rozier will be in there. You can lock that guy in for me. I love that price tag. So we talked about some of these other guys in the value range. Anybody else jumping out? I got one guy I want to ask you about. I said my sharp side was Milwaukee -1. Your sharp side pick, and you have a little streak working here. Your sharp side pick tonight, you're going Harrison Barnes over the 13.5 points, if I read that correctly. Talk to me about Harrison Barnes. Is this a value play for you?
It is. I love Harrison Barnes tonight. So obviously this is a revenge game back in Golden State. He's got a lot of good memories there, with Steph and Clay on the bench. He's going to be looking to show off a little bit, but he's also in great form right now. He's playing massive minutes, right? Like if you look through his last few games, 38, 36, 37, 38, and he's been producing. And so the sites aren't catching up with him. So I'm just ready to ride this guy right now while he's still cheap and, in this matchup, because it's such a cupcake matchup. He's a guy that thinks he's a lot better than he is. And so he's going to be out there chucking. The defensive stats are a nightmare with him. It's pulling teeth to get anything out of him. But, he's had some big games recently. He went for 40, 34, 38, and 3 of his last 4. Had a blip of 20 against the Mavs. But, this is the spot for him tonight. So I took the over 13.5 points because I think he's going to have some extra usage coming his way in this game.
Man, this is why I like doing the shows with the smart guys, because I totally slipped my mind that he's back in Golden State tonight. And if there was ever a Golden State team that he could get some revenge on, this is the team he can get revenge on. It was a little harder for him to get revenge on the good Golden State teams, but this is a team he can take advantage of. I mean, this team is bad, like you said earlier. Who wins?
It's like Harrison. It's like he's playing in a G League game back in his own former
after they cut him after the being in the finals. He's got us. This is finally, after all these years, this is the revenge game we've been waiting on from Harrison Barnes.
Yes.
This is it. Who wins? The current Golden State roster or the current Kansas Jayhawks roster in college basketball?
It's a close one. I don't know. I'd have to try to map it out. Obviously, the Golden State would win, but it would be competitive, which is disgusting.
Yeah, so this is the one. I like that. I totally forgot about Harrison Barnes, but that's where we can look to for a little bit of low salary. Anybody else in the lower range? We got some pretty good projections on guys like Daniel Tice. Does Tice entice you?
Yes and no. One thing. So here you go. A little Cantor revenge. Do you want? The guy's
very little.
The guy's playing no minutes. So Cantor is awful, and Brad Stevens sees it, and he just kills the Celtics.
Somebody's got to guard Whiteside, right?
Yeah. So, but I don't see Tice holding up very well against Whiteside either. So it might be. I would be more apt to fade Tice in this spot, even though the matchup in general, they're really good. It's a great matchup to play a center against Portland, but I don't think Tice is the guy. I wouldn't mind taking like a long shot flyer. It's just maybe hoping for the best that Cantor gets extra minutes in this one, but like he's so out of favor with Stevens that it's probably not going to happen, but it's possible.
So is it possible that Boston takes a page out of the Rockets' notebook and goes a little small ball tonight?
That's very possible too.
Fair enough. We can get by that. Salary guys, low salary. Millsap's had some big games recently. You trust Millsap's back, or this is not really a game to play Millsap, right?
I think so. It's I was torn on that. I was thinking that because it caught my eye with his good game in his last one. I've been waiting for him. Like maybe he's getting healthier and like starting. They're going to need him for playoffs. Like they should be like trying to get this guy going. So maybe he's like full throttle going. Trying to get ready for the playoffs. But he's been so bad this season. But like against like Detroit, he could have a really good game. But the problem is, like you said, the blowout. Will they leave him out there? Probably not. I don't know. So I'm kind of torn on that one. I think he's interesting, but like obviously he's not. I mean, it's Harry Barnes day, you know.
Yeah, yes, for sure. So let me see. Any question? If you have any questions, guys, fire them off in one of the chats. I'll glance over both of them. I got my eye on both of them. And you have any love for Damian Lee out there, Kirkwood? Any love for Damian Lee?
I do. He and Poole would be my guys from the punt kind of guys from Golden State that I like.
Yeah, fair enough. So if you've got some questions, fire them up in there. In the meantime, while I wait on some questions, let's just go ahead and go to FanDuel. I want to try to piece together a lineup. Doesn't have to be. Let's think about single entry. Not necessarily trying to win every. So we can have some chalk in here, but obviously you want to avoid having a totally chalky lineup. Let's just get to building. So the first guy I want to put in this lineup now. I want to put Giannis in. I just think this is setting up for a possible monster game for him. We just don't get a lot of opportunities to have Giannis play full minutes, maybe even more than, extend past the season average of minutes. The matchup does not really worry me at all. He dropped, I think it was 77 FanDuel points on this very same team earlier this year because they don't have Kawhi now. So I'm not worried. Giannis is the guy I want to get in there. I'm looking at the ownership, and he's actually going to be half owned compared to Anthony Davis and LeBron. LeBron James and Anthony Davis are double the ownership of Giannis at only about $1,000 more. I want Giannis in there. Are you going to fight me on keeping Giannis out of there?
No, not at all. There's nothing wrong with Giannis.
Let's put Giannis in there. Who's the next guy you're looking at? Who do you want to jump in there?
We're gonna have to get some cheap guys, right? So
we got to now.
So we're gonna have to throw Marcus Smart and Terry Rozier in.
Okay, now Marcus Smart, does the 34% projected ownership scare you off at all? Considering he's a little volatile, we know that.
What's Barnes' ownership?
Let me. Oh man, I bet it ain't that much. Let me take a look. Oh, Harrison is 3%.
All right, then we don't care about ownership.
So we're going Smart. Smart's your guy.
That's the one. I mean, you might as well throw Harry B, and then you take the rest from there.
No. You got some good. You got the guys here. You know what you're talking about. But the Harrison Barnes play, I actually like that one a lot. I didn't even think about the Golden State thing, but so we got Barnes in there. We got Smart, Giannis. It leaves us 6,300. Rozier's on the table. I'm not putting Rozier in this one. I'm gonna save Rozier because I'm putting Rozier in my own lineup. So I don't want these donkeys copying my lineup, and then we all split the single entry showdown. So I'm not putting Rozier here, but I love Rozier. So keep that in mind. So we do need 2 point guards. Who's your point guard? Anybody like De'Aaron Fox?
De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah, just eat the ownership on that one. Doesn't even matter, right?
Yep.
So what else do we do there on FanDuel? Do we go cheaper here? I mean, there's so many out. I'll tell you what. One guy who's popping projection-wise that we didn't even talk about, and he got all the injuries. Malcolm Brogdon. And he's really cheap on FanDuel. 6,100 on FanDuel is a really good price tag. Big ownership. The injuries now. What about Brogdon? What do you think about him?
Yeah, I don't mind him. I think that's a solid play.
Yeah, let me plug in some Brogdon. Then I like that. Now we're at $6,000 per player. Lots of options here. Let's talk about some power forwards specifically. We covered Tatum, we covered a little bit of Davis, but we didn't really get into the other core of it where you have to have 2 on FanDuel. I'm going to throw some names out there. You give me the status on these guys tonight. Do you think Sabonis gets a bump up with Oladipo and Jeremy Lamb, who's been known to chuck the ball a little bit? Does Sabonis get a bump up tonight?
I don't think so. I think it's his normal. He's going to be the same. He could go off and be awesome, but with this build, I'd be more inclined to go with Miles Turner. Save some loot.
Yeah. What about everyone's flavor of the week now? Zion Williamson. He looks to be healthy, playing some minutes now. This is not an easy matchup, but I don't know if matchups matter for this guy particularly. He's got such a unique skill set. What do you think about Zion tonight against the Lakers?
He's in play, I guess. It's a tough matchup for him. I'm just not trusting it. I'm expecting him to have a little bit of a rough game. So I would probably fade him there, but how he's going to be low owned?
Let me see. Let me pull it up here. No, let me see. No, yeah, 12%. That's low owned for him for sure.
I mean, I would much rather. What's his price?
75. So he's 800 less than a guy he's 1,300 less than Tatum. He's in that range, man. It's pretty good. It's a pretty accurate price for him. 75.
I mean, I would much rather try to get Tatum.
Yeah, I would agree with that. If we can somehow squeeze him in, I don't know if we're gonna be able to do it on this lineup, but you got some other guys who's really been jumping off lately. One guy is Christian Wood. Difficult matchup, but he's getting some run now. What do you think about Christian Wood tonight?
Yeah,
traveling to Denver though.
He's getting that blowout run too, so that
could be big tonight.
Yeah, he's fine. I like him.
And then the category kind of takes a big dip after that $6,000 range. Now you're left with guys. We talked about Millsap and Tice. Those are guys you're left. Eric Paschall, we didn't really talk about. What do you think about Paschall with these injuries to Golden State's front court?
He's my least favorite of I get if you need him, we can use him. I prefer Damian Lee, Poole, those guys over him. It's a tough matchup playing the power forward against the Kings. They just don't give up production for some reason against the position. And I don't think he's very good.
Okay. So here's the decision we got to make at power forward on FanDuel, and this is what you got to do at just about every position. Once you start filling in, you got to make these 2 versus 2s, like at power forward. So our combination could be a guy like Harry Giles, who we've talked about, and Jason Tatum. You could go with that combo. That's a star and a scrub. Or you can balance it out and go with a couple of really nice players. Get a Serge Ibaka in there and pair him with somebody in that 7K range that you think is going to be all right. Maybe a Christian Wood, Serge Ibaka, or Tatum Giles. What kind of preference do you have on that kind of a thing?
And we've got Harrison Barnes in?
We've got Harry Barnes in there.
All right. So then it probably you could play them together. So I think that's a perfectly viable build. But, let's go for the max upside and put Christian Wood and Serge.
All right. I'm down.
And you get a little Giannis correlation there with Serge.
You do.
Games.
Let me pull up Serge's. Serge has had some pretty big upside games here. Oh, yeah. 34 against Indiana, and that's a tough matchup. A few days ago, dropped 46 on Brooklyn. Yeah, he's got the upside there, so I like that. So we got a couple spots left here, about $5,000 per player on FanDuel, so we're going to have to figure out some things. Let's talk about centers. We went over a few of them. Whiteside's a little bit priced up. You don't like Jokic at all. We talked about Marquise Chris. Miles Turner's $5,800. I know you like that price tag. And then after Miles Turner, there's just a really big drop. There's nothing after that. You'd have to go with a guy like JaVale McGee. We're not playing JaVale McGee, so man. What do you do at center on FanDuel? Do you have that pulled up in front of you? Because that's ugly, man.
Steven Adams is a hell of a play just because everybody just crushes the Bulls front court. The Bulls in general in their front court, they're dead last DVP versus center position, 28th in opponent blocks, 26th in opponent steals. Adams has been playing really well all of a sudden. It seems like that all-star break did him well for rest. He just started to play well the week before. He's just started to look healthy for the first time. His minutes have seen an increase. Noels have come down. They're not splitting, nearly the same what they were before. So I do love Adams if we can get to him. Miles Turner is the next guy I would look to. And then from there, who else? It's dumpster diving from there. I think a really low owned tournament play would be Mason Plumlee tonight, playing that blowout.
Playing the blowout. What about? Would you play? He's been terrible lately, but Derek Favors. This is a matchup where he should be on the court against the Lakers, who throw out a couple of big centers at all times. Any love for Derek Favors to just be a total out of the box tournament play?
I think you can do it. He's the one guy that suffers the most with Zion coming back. His minutes have been down, his usage is down. But like you said, I do expect this is probably a good game. His usage has been pathetic recently, so you're really having to fight a tough trend. But it's all about picking low on guys like this though that helps you win the big money. So I do like your thought process, and he probably won't kill you, right? So there's some upside there.
Let's see what kind of combination we can get here from these last 2 spots. I want to start off with Steven Adams because that's probably the clear-cut best overall play on FanDuel at center because it's so thin. We already talked about the 2 guys up top, Jokic and Whiteside. I like Whiteside. I think he scores points, but at 9,600, man, I can't justify that. Just can't do it. So, and then Jokic, you don't like him. So now that would leave us 3,800 for a shooting guard. Now, this is the position you can get it. Let's just see if we can find if we're within the range of the guys we've already talked about today. So, taking a look down at shooting guard. 3,800 or less. Oof, this is ugly, man.
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
Well, we did get news that if Bruce Brown is out, which I think he is, could we play a guy like Langston Galloway? Could we do that?
Yeah, you could play Langston Galloway.
Is that a guy you would ever play though tonight?
I would consider it.
All right, if 38, if we added some money on, is there anybody? slightly above that jumps out to you. That's the problem, though. Even if we went cheaper on another guy and saved a few hundred, there's nothing that jumps out. That we're not even close to anything substantial. Like Malik Monk at 5,100 might be our only, the only guy in that range.
I mean, there's what there's like Danny Green.
Oh, I can't play. I can't.
Svi.
You like that guy? You like that more than Galloway?
Probably.
If we get a blowout, who does he get the run, or does Galloway get the run?
They're both gonna get run. Something weird happened with his minutes in one game recently, but I have no idea how to explain. I think I think Svi is the guy.
So if we're playing this kind of a lineup and we stick with Steven Adams, that's the guy. We could get Svi in there. All right. We could do that. Or you can come down off Steven Adams. You talked about Miles Turner. You could save about $700 or $800 there and go to Miles Adams. Hope he has that big block. This is FanDuel. You get rewarded for the blocks. So
then I got to go. Then, I mean, I would much rather that. We could put Bogdanovich in.
That's so Adams and Svi versus Bogdanovich and Turner.
But who cares? Then we're loaded on but that's all right. I'm fine with loading on Sacramento.
Well, yeah, somebody's got to. It's a bad team, right? Golden State. We can do that, right? We can do that.
Yeah.
The only problem is I wish we had a Golden State guy we were running back, but can we run back Marquise Chris in that lineup? What about Marquise Chris?
Oh yeah, he's the same price as Miles Turner, right?
I mean, I'm with you. I think Turner probably outscores him more times than not, but just for the sake of making a tournament lineup, it might be good to go ahead and go with the guy who's actually on the opposite end of the team we're loaded up on, right?
Yep, I can get behind that.
All right, let's just plug that one in there, see what it looks like. I'm with you there, though. I think we're that works, man. Looks like a good lineup. Yeah, guys, that's a good lineup. Don't copy it because you might be splitting it with a bunch of people if you do that.
Copy it. I mean, that's the new thing. Everybody loves to copy lineups.
So you feel decent about that? Would you play this thing in cash games? Fox, Brogdon, Smart, Bogdanovich, Giannis is good. Barnes, I think, is good. Wood in Ibaka, Chris. That's not really a cash game lineup, is it?
No, but it's not terrible.
Not terrible. So play it in your double ups, guys. Play that sucker in your double ups. Maybe
play it everywhere.
Why not? Come on, guys. Fire me off some questions, man. Fire me off some questions, and then we can answer them, and then we'll get out of here because I think we pretty much covered the slate, unless we get some more breaking news. Brook Lopez will play. Let me see here. I got a few. Devontae Graham doubtful still. Brook Lopez will play. We kind of knew that. Norman Powell's out. That's a Dean injury. We knew that. That's been out for weeks. Yeah, we got all that. So let's see here. Let me see. Let me wrestle up some questions. Lee, Monk, or Bazemore? Lee, Monk, or Bazemore?
What site? Just in general?
I mean, I guess just in general, guys. If you want a specific site, throw it in the question. And
I mean, I don't know. I kind of like Monk.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
I mean, I just want a chucker, right?
I'm with you on that one. We kind of talked about this a minute ago, but just in a vacuum, I guess, raw points, Adams or Turner?
Well, raw points, Adams is the play, but I think they're both in play. I like Miles Turner a lot tonight. I've said that all show. I also like Steven Adams a lot tonight. Adams would be the certain cash play. But the matchup is just as good as it gets. They're both in great matchups.
Brian Charles mentions a guy that we didn't talk about very much. Give me your thoughts on Kyle Lowry tonight against on paper, this is a tough defensive matchup, but it is a pace-up game for Toronto, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think he could have a good game in this one. The Bucks play at the fastest pace in the league. They are ranked dead last in threes. Opponent made threes per game. Lowry is certainly one that will look to shoot from the outside. So I think Lowry's a good, strong play. He's in great form right now. I think he's a strong play. This is like you can, and I'm expecting him to get the high end of his minutes range because I think this game's going to be competitive, and Nurse is going to roll these guys out for massive amounts of minutes tonight. So
that's what I like about the game right there. So Nathan says, can someone talk him off of T.J. Warren? How do you feel about T.J. Warren tonight?
I think he's a decent GPP play. I mean, he can make or break you. He's got upside in him for sure. If he decides to take over a game and, shooting well and whatnot. So he's not, I mean, like I said, Harrison Barnes is going to crush TJ Warren tonight.
Okay. I like that.
Isn't that the weirdest? Have you ever heard anyone say Harrison Barnes is going to crush? Has Harrison Barnes ever crushed?
I think back in the day, Crazy Gaby used to say it all the time. Harrison Barnes is going to crush Harrison Barnes. And he's just never kind of panned out. But, yeah, you're right, man. He's an afterthought. But I like it tonight. You brought that to my attention. I'm going to play that one. But can you play Malik Monk and Terry Rozier in the same lineup? Ooh, buddy, I don't know. That's a little thin, right?
You can. And, game stat, you better have some you better throw some Pacers in there. You can be – it's pricing dictates all that, right? So these guys are both priced really low tonight. So I think you absolutely can, actually.
Fair enough. I'm not seeing a whole lot of other questions, so I think, man, we might get out of here a couple minutes early and let the guys warm up for crunch time, and then not everybody's in a rush. You got any parting thoughts here you want to give off on this slate before we jump up out of here?
I think tonight is like a blender type night where correlation is going to be key. There's a lot of games that could just be really ugly, where they could just completely die, or they could be extremely competitive. And you're going to want, game stacks in them. So I think choose your correlations wisely tonight. Yeah,
guys, we appreciate you tuning in. I know I gathered a couple of different players from this show that I wasn't on beforehand, but I can guarantee you'll find them in my FanDuel lineup tonight. Good luck in all those GPPs, guys. Don't forget, hit that like button. Keep on hitting it throughout the day. Even in crunch time, just keep hitting it. It helps out. It helps out with our program. Don't forget to subscribe. Get in on your Sharp Side streak contest. Build a streak up. My streak's at 0 because I keep failing after a couple nights. Kirk's working on a nice streak. I think he's going to hit it tonight with the Harrison Barnes. Other than that, guys, it was a pleasure having you on the show tonight. Until next time, for Kirk Deese, I'm Head Chopper. We're out of here.